you're actually gambling. You taking your child to private school when you cannot afford it is you gambling with your livelihood. It's you taking money and saying, I have this money and I'm going to waste it because there is a chance, very small chance, that there will be some sense of success. If there was a way to look into the future and you were told right here, right now, that one, your child will never get a job, never get a job. They will struggle so much that in this life, they'll never get a job. Or number two, the job that they are going to get is a job in a profession or in an industry that you currently look down on. What would you do differently right now? With that information, what would you change with the way that you approach school? What would you change with the way that you advise your kids regarding their career and what they should do in school? And number three, what would you change with the amount of money that you are willing to invest in your kids right now? For example, where you take them to school and the school fees you are willing to spend. What would you change? That sounds like a hypothetical question, but it's not. This is a question that we need to be asking ourselves right now, because in the world of AI, that's a reality. A lot of kids who are in school right now will never get a job. School is almost becoming useless. And those who are going to get a job are not going to get a job in the industry in which they studied for. Google it. Even Harvard graduates are struggling to get jobs. So what would you change in that scenario? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Thato and I am so glad that you are here. Today I want to talk about a somewhat controversial topic. It's rarely addressed as it should be, but let's tell the truth. Taking our kids to private school is a form of social signaling or status signaling amongst Black people. Let's just tell it like it is. Taking our kids to private school for a lot of Black people is a form of status signaling. And I say this because there is a lot of Black people who cannot afford to take their kids to private school who are doing it. There is a lot of Black people who are taking their kids to private school who are currently in arrears with those fees. Let's just be honest about it. And I'm not saying this to bash anybody. I'm saying this because I believe we can change the narrative and do something better for our kids. Why do I say that? This thing is something that we inherited from our parents. Our parents went through the oppressive part of the history, not being able to have the freedom to access a lot of things. And when they gained independence, some of the things that they aspired for was to take their kids to private school. Why? Because it was a form of status signaling to their family, to their peers, to their co-workers that they have made it in life. They have escaped the hood and are now in the burbs. Yes, I understand that the state of the government education was also a factor. But if we are honest, if we are truly honest, let's tell the truth. A lot of people do it as a form of status signaling. And why do I say that? Because a lot of them do it regardless of the fact that they cannot afford it. Facts. A lot of people will take their child to private school whether or not they can afford it. And I am saying we need to change that narrative because we have also inherited it. Our parents took us to private school when they couldn't afford it. Because we went to private school, the notion is that my child will definitely go to private school. No questions about it. But let's just look at this. Parents said, or we say, that we take our kids to private school in order to give them a better future. We want to give them something better because the government education is bad. So by taking them to private school, we want to give them better opportunities. Well, fine. That was all good and well in the past. If you took your child to a good institution, they went to a good varsity, there was a chance of them getting a very good job, and the probability was high in the past. But that's no longer the case. Currently, in the world of AI, people are not getting jobs, no matter where they studied. A lot of Harvard graduates right now are unemployed. They are struggling to get jobs. And even if they do get a job, the field in which they studied, it's redundant. It's been taken over by AI, so it's useless. So if we are saying current Harvard graduates are struggling to get jobs, what then of you, who currently your child is in school, you are struggling to pay the bills? What do you think is going to happen in the future? I think it's important for us to look at this and change the narrative, because the same amount of money that you are currently spending to your kids and you're telling yourself that is to improve their livelihood in the future, you are actually throwing it in the bin. When you could take that money, put your child in government school, and invest it for their future. The investment is in different forms. I'm not going to be talking about that. But even if it's not investing, you could take your child, put them in government school, and allow them to live a good life right now. With that money, you can get a better house. With that money, you can start doing policies for your kids, investing and maxing out that tax-free account right now, which accumulates, and by the time they are old, they could have $1 million in their account. You could take that money and do something to secure their future right now, which is guaranteed. Whereas right now, you're actually gambling. You taking your child to private school when you cannot afford it is you gambling with your livelihood. It's you taking money and saying, I have this money and I'm going to waste it because there is a chance, very small chance, that there will be some sense of success. If you look at it that way, don't you think there is other ways that you can do it? You know, as a person who went to private school and my siblings went to private school, one thing that we always say when we are talking with my siblings is this: parents don't realize how it feels as a child from a struggling household who's put in the schools with people who can afford it, and you are the bottom of the barrel. The child in such situation grows up with this inferior complex because they can't afford anything. When their peers are going to the tech shop, they can't go to the tech shop because they don't have pocket money. When they come from holiday and you are asked to write that composition all the time about your holidays, kids are talking about how they went on holiday to this place, to that place, and you don't have a story because either you stayed at home or you went to the village. Kids are not able to attend birthday parties because parents can't afford a present every other month. They are not able to invite their friends to the house because the friends are living in the big, beautiful houses and they are stuck in this little apartment, even though they go to the same school with those kids. Listen, I'm not saying that taking your child to private school is a bad thing. No, it's a good thing. But in this world of AI, things are different. If you are taking your child to private school and you are struggling to keep up with the fees, you are just wasting money and you are giving yourself headache for nothing. We always say that we need to look at our budget and find ways to trim the fat. Never do people ask themselves, is the fact that I'm paying for the private school tuition that I shouldn't be paying for? You can take your child out of private school, take them to government school, and get them a tutor because you will have extra now. If the issue is that government school doesn't offer the same opportunities, you can take them out and you can then get them in a soccer club or netball club, a swimming club outside of a school facility, if those are the things you want your kids to be exposed to. All I'm saying is that in this day and age, Taking your child to private school when you cannot afford it is no longer about investing in your child. It's no longer about securing their future and making sure you are sacrificing to give them a better future. No, it's barely or merely just throwing money in the trash because school is becoming useless. We're starting to see it now. And if your child is in primary school, secondary school, it will be worse for them. We don't have to wait for the future to arrive to regret the past. We can change the narrative now and look at, assess the economic situation, assess where the world is at right now. And from that assessment, we can make the right decisions right now. Take your child out of private school, start putting money in that tax-free account. If your child is in primary school, 10 years from now, that little bit that you've put in that tax-free account would have grown so much that you have already given them a leg up in life. You've already given them a fighting chance in the ruthless world that they're going to be living in the future. You can start preparing right now. Guys, this is a controversial topic. It's not to attack. There's different views as to why people are doing this. I want you to tell me your honest opinion. What do you think? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think that there is still a fighting chance that making this sacrifice for your kids will return some rewards in the future? Let's talk about it in the comment section. Even if you have a differing viewpoint, trust me, it will help not only me, but other people who are watching the video. I hope that we will chit chat in the comment section. And until next time, be blessed.